What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to scrape TikTok profiles automatically by creating a simple workflow in N8N. Let's get started. In N8N, I've created a workflow that I've renamed to TikTok Profile Scraper to scrape TikTok profiles. I'm going to use this tool called Apify. Apify is an incredible tool that you can use to scrape any website and automate projects. To get 30% off your first subscription of this tool, just click the link down below in the description. And then go ahead and create an account at Apify, and after creating your account, head over to Apify store. Here, we're going to search for the tool that we're going to use to scrape TikTok profiles. So here, I'll search for TikTok profile scraper, then click on this tool right here. This is the tool that we're going to use to scrape profiles on TikTok. So all you have to do here is add a username of the profile. Here, you can choose the profile section that you'd like to scrape. So you can either choose either videos or reposts. You can also sort the videos either by latest, popular, or oldest. We're going to add the maximum number of posts per profile that we like to scrape. Here you can choose to scrape profile videos published after a specific date. Here you can choose to scrape videos published before a specific date. Here you can choose to scrape videos with a specific number of likes. And here you can scrape followers and following of the profiles. But I'm only going to choose to scrape their profiles with their latest videos. To do that, I'll click on Start. And here, you can see that our actor is running and getting our data. Let's give it a second. You can see we successfully scraped my profile on TikTok. Here, we got the author's avatar, the author's name, the description of each of our video, the likes count, shares, play count, comments, duration of the video, music, the music author, the date the video was posted, and the video URL over here. Now, to get this data that we just scraped to our workflow over here, I'll click on API on the right, then I'll scroll where it says get dataset item, then I'll copy this link, and I'll go back to our workflow. Here, we're going to add a trigger first. I'm going to choose a manual trigger, and then here, I'll add HTTP request node over here, and then I'll paste the link that we just copied over here, and then I'll click on execute step. Here, you can see that our node was executed successfully, and we got the caption of the videos. We also got the name of the profile, the URL of the profile, the nickname, their bio link, their avatar. We also got their following, friends, fans, likes, videos, and more. And lastly, we got the data of the video. For example, we got the video metadata. We also got the video URL, cover URL, the definition, format, subtitles, download link, TikTok link, likes, shares, plays, comments, and hashtags over here. This is the profile data that we scraped from our profile using this tool right here. Now, instead of having to manually scrape my profile right here, using this tool in Apify, then copying the dataset ID right here and pasting it over here, then clicking on execute step so we can get the profile data that we just scraped, we can automatically scrape the profiles right here in N8N without having to navigate from Apify to N8N over here. So to do that, here, I'll clear this URL, and then I'll open Apify's documentation, and then I'll scroll down below to find the API that we like to call. Since we would like to run an actor, I'm going to click on Run Actor Synchronously with Input and Get Dataset Item. I'll copy this URL and click on Import URL and paste the URL that we just copied right here. Then click on Import. Here, we're going to add 3 items. First item that we're going to add is the actor ID. Second item that we're going to add is the token and the JSON over here. Now, let us start by adding the first item, which is the actor ID. To get the actor ID, I'll go back to our tool and click on our tool right here. And then in the search URL, I'm going to copy the unique ID of this tool. Remember, the actor ID is in the search URL. So I'll copy it, then I'll paste it right here. Now, the next thing that we're going to add is the API token right here. To get our token, I'll go back to Apify, then click on Settings, and then I'll click on API and Integrations. Here, you'll need to create a new token. So click on Create a New Token, give it a description right here, then click on Create to create your token. And then, since I had already created my token, I'm going to copy it. Then I'll go back right here and paste our token right here. Now the last thing that we're going to add is the JSON. Say specify body. I'm going to click on using JSON. Then here, I'll click on expression and expand it right here to add our JSON. To get our JSON, I'll go back to our tool where it says manual and JSON. Click on JSON. Then here, I'll copy this JSON. Then I'll go back to Workflow and paste our JSON right here. And here, I'll click on back to Convert. And now I'll click on execute step to scrape my profile over here. So you can see we are scraping my profile over here. So here it's executing the node. Let's give it a second for it to complete scraping my profile. You can see here our node was executed successfully, and now we scraped my profile over here. We're getting my profile data, including some of my videos. So our node works perfectly. So here I'll rename this to TikTok profile scraper. And here I'll click on rename. And then here I'll click on save. Now here, when I open this node and scroll to our JSON, you can see we are hard coding our username over here. Instead of hard coding the username over here, we can add the username to a Google Sheet, then add the usernames over there, and then come and map the username over here instead of hard coding it. So in Google Sheet, I've created a spreadsheet that I've renamed to scrape TikTok profiles. And here I have two sheets. One that is called TikTok profile data. Here's where we're going to add the TikTok profile data after we scraped it. So you're going to add the name, description, following, friends, fans, likes, videos, and the profile URL. Another sheet that I've created in the spreadsheet called TikTok account. And here's where we're going to add the username of our account that would like to scrape the profiles. Here's where we're going to add our username. Instead of having to hard code the username right here in our node over here. Right here. So here, I'll unlink this, and then I'll search for Google Sheets. Then in Google Sheets, I'm going to click on Get Rows in Sheets. Here, you'll need to create a credential. By clicking on Create New Credential, then over here, sign in with your Google account that you'd like to connect to anytime. And then on the new window that pops up, choose the account that you'd like to connect to anytime, and then your credential will be created. Since I had already done that, I'm going to close this, and then choose my credential right here. I'm going to choose our spreadsheet, choose this spreadsheet right here, and then the sheet, I'm going to choose the TikTok account sheet, since here's where our username is there. And then I'll click on execute step to get our username. You can see we're getting our username over here. Yeah, I'll click on back to Converse, and here you can connect it to our node over here. Then I'll open it, and now here, instead of having to hard code our username over here, I'm going to drag it from our spreadsheet over here. And then here I'll click on back to Converse. Can rename this to TikTok accounts. And then here I'll click on rename. And then now let us try executing our workflow to grab our account and then scrape it. You can see that our workflow is executed successfully. And we succeeded in scraping my TikTok account over here. So this is awesome. Now, after we scrape the profile, we can proceed to add the profile data to our spreadsheet. Here, I'll wait for a few seconds. For example, let's say 5 seconds to avoid overwhelming Google Sheet. So here, I'll wait 5 seconds. Then click on rename. Now we can proceed to add profile data to our spreadsheet. So this is a spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet that we're going to add our profile data. So here, I'll search for Google Sheets again. Click on Google Sheets. Then here, click on append row in sheet. Here, I'll click on back to Canvas. Then here, I'll execute this node. Then I'll open this node right here. Here, I'll choose my credential. Then here, I'll choose our documents. Choose this document right here. Our spreadsheet. This time around, we're going to choose TikTok profile data, since this is the sheet that we're going to add our data. Now here, we're going to map our columns in our spreadsheet with the data that we scraped using Apify. So for the name, I'm going to add the name right here. Description with the signature. Following, I'm going to add it right here. Friends, we're going to map it right here. Fans, we're going to map it right here. The likes, we're going to map it right here. Number of videos, going to map it right here. And the profile URL, I'm going to map it right here. You can choose to add more columns in your spreadsheet and collect more data like the video details and the video likes and counts and hashtags. But I'm going to just choose to add only this data to a spreadsheet. So to add the data to a spreadsheet, I'll click on execute step right here. You can see it's executing our node, and we've successfully added my profile data to our spreadsheet. So outputting 10 items. Click on back to canvas. Then on this node, I'll open it, and I'll scroll down below to our JSON. And here, it results per page. We like to only output only one instead of 10. Here, I'll click on back to canvas again. I'll click on execute workflow to execute our workflow again. This time around on the script only my page and give us the output as one. You can see that our workflow was executed successfully. Now, when I open our node right here, you can see we're only outputting only one item, and we're waiting for a few seconds. Then we're only adding one item to our spreadsheet right here. So I'll click on back to canvas, save this workflow. Now, when I open our spreadsheet, you can see now we are outputting our profile data over here, and we're only outputting one result. So we are outputting the name, description, number, following, friends, fans, likes, and videos, and the profile URL. So we're scraping the profile data using our workflow and adding it to our spreadsheet using the simple workflow that we created right here in N8N. Yeah, we can rename this to TikTok profile data. And then here, I'll click on rename. Right here, click on save. Now, since our workflow works perfectly, we can try scraping a profile of a different account. So in our TikTok's account sheet, I've added another account's username right here, which is Gymshark. And then here, to scrape the profile of the account, I'll click on execute workflow. Here, you can see that our workflow was executed successfully. Here, we got our account, which was Gymshark. And we successfully scraped it using our node right here. Here's the profile data, the account. Then we waited a few seconds to add the profile data to our spreadsheet. So now when I go to our TikTok profile data sheet, you can see we added our TikTok's account profile data right here. We added the name, description, following, friends, fans, likes, videos, and the TikTok profile over here. You can try a different account like NBA. To scrape the account profile, I'll click on execute workflow right here. You can see that our workflow was executed successfully. This node got our account's username, and using the username, we scraped the profile data right here. Here's the profile data that we scraped using our tool in Apify. And we wait a few seconds to add the profile data to our spreadsheet. Now, when I open our spreadsheet, you can see we added the account's profile data to our spreadsheet. We added their name, description, following, friends, fans, likes, videos, and the profile URL. So our workflow works perfectly. Here, we're getting the account. I would like to scrape their profiles. And using this tool in Apify, we are successfully scraping the profile data. Then we're waiting a few seconds to add the profile data to our spreadsheet. And this is the spreadsheet that we're adding the profile data. And then in this sheet, we add in the account. I would like to scrape the profile data. Then after we scrape the profile data, we're adding the profile data to the spreadsheet using the simple workflow that we created right here in N8N. Thank you for watching. Now, if you have a workflow or an AI agent that you'd like for me to create using N8N, just comment down below in the comment section. I read all the comments. If I land on your comment and I find it intriguing, I'll come back on a future video showing you how to create the entire workflow or AI agent from scratch using N8N. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.